Hello everybody, how are you doing? It's a guy here. Today I want us to look at something important. I want us to look at some beautiful executions that actually happened last week. And this is just going to be an eye-opener for most of you who are still struggling with the strategy, okay? So guys, without any further ado, let's jump into this. As I always say, if you're coming to your charts and you don't know exactly what you're looking for, you are gambling. You need to know exactly what you're looking for way before you even open your computer. That is highly important. So guys, we had some beautiful executions and it's the same thing each and every day. So this is where I'm gonna start. Okay, this is where I'm gonna start. First of all, I want us to start here. Okay, these are the criteria we follow each and every day because we need to know what we are looking for way before we come to our computer. So guys, you have to come few minutes before the New York session opens. So that tells you that you have the entire day to yourself. And if you're in an area like USA where New York actually comes early in the morning, that means you're only going to work in the morning. Then you'll have the entire day to yourself. Okay. So when I say you come a few minutes before the session starts, if you look here, I have this iSession indicator. It's free. It's in my description. Okay. This is where the session actually begins. Okay. It's 9:30 a.m. New York time. In South Africa, it's 4:30 p.m. Okay, so that means if you're in South Africa, you have the entire day to yourself. You only come at 4:30 p.m. Okay, so look at this. We are coming around here 10 to 5 minutes before the session opens. And what do we do when we come 10 to 5 minutes before the New York session opens? Okay, we ask ourselves a question. What type of trend do you see? This is highly important because guys, if you are in a trend, then you won't have to follow this. Why? Because a trend is a strategy on its own. So as I always say, I've given you a lot of trends. Where are they? Yes, here they are. I've given you creeping trends, explosive trends, and normal trends. And under creeping trends, we have a lot of trends under these ones. The same applies to explosive trends. We have two different types of explosive trends, and then we have different kinds of normal trends. So these are unique strategies on themselves. They are standalone strategies. So if you come to your chart and you realize you are in a creeping trend, guys, you know exactly what to do. Okay, you know exactly what to do because that's the information I gave you. Okay, if we quickly go to page 9, you will see something. This is an explosive trend. So you see, if you come and you realize you're in an explosive trend, for example, you know what's gonna happen and you already know how to identify it. Okay, why? Because I gave you all the information you need. You see, I gave you all the information you need, and I also told you where to take the entry if it's an explosive trend. As I said, you have two types of explosive trends. You have different types of creeping trends, and you have different types of normal trends. So each of these trends are a strategy by themselves. Okay, so you have different kind of strategies in this book. Okay, I usually focus on one because I want people to master one first. Okay, however, if you realize you are not in any form of a trend, okay, you follow these steps. You follow these steps. It's highly important. Okay, the first step will be to identify trap volume before the session. Okay, so as I said, when you come, you are actually coming few minutes before the session opens. Okay, 10 to 5 minutes before the session opens, and then you ask yourself a question: who is trapped? Okay, by who is trapped, I mean when the session is opening, who is at a loss? Of course, if you are coming around here, you can see there are people up and there are people down. People who bought are at a loss and people who sold here are at a loss. So you don't know who is trapped. Why? Because the session is opening in the middle. We have a high and a low, but most of the time, let's say for instance, if you were coming somewhere around here, everybody down will be trapped. Why? Because they will be losing. Obviously everybody who sold will be at a loss at this point here, right? But because we are coming somewhere here, we won't be able to know, which is why I put that criteria in green, because some days you won't be able to see it and you have to continue. Okay, so it is the only criteria you can continue without. But to make things easy, you see this red dotted line here, it's yesterday's closing price. Again, it's in the description and it's free. Most of the days they are going to trap below or above this red line. As you can see, if they didn't go up first, obviously everybody below the closing price will be trapped. Okay, and why do we identify this? Because guys, some days they will give you an opportunity into trap volume. If they do and you sell, you need to know that there are 3 things that are going to happen. Sometimes they're going to drive prices into trap volume and then they reverse. Why? Because they use the entire day to gather orders. Remember, insiders are preparing to buy, okay, and outsiders are selling. So they are actually gathering orders. So by the time the session opens, most of the days they'll have a lot of orders in their hands. That is to say, they'll have a lot of money in their hands, and if they come down here, they will risk releasing everybody who sold. Okay, because at this point here, there are people who don't use stop losses. At this point, there are people who sold because you see they were sending people down, 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 and down again. So they will risk releasing these guys. That is why I say most of the time they might lead you into trap volume just to reverse on you. Okay, it's highly important to know that. However, that's not the only thing that can happen. Again, they can do this because yes, of course, they use the entire day to trap. However, they are the ones who see all the sides. Okay, in other words, I want to say below this closing price we have a lot of stop losses. Okay, we have a lot of stops. Okay, let me put this in red. I want you to understand we have a lot of we have a lot of stops below here. Okay, so sometimes they can do this, drive prices down, come and close everybody here, and that is if the people here are too many, the orders here are too many. Remember, insiders use huge orders. Okay, and for their orders to be fulfilled, they either need to accumulate, of which they'll give the first scenario, but sometimes again they will see that there's a lot of stops down here. Okay, and what will they do? They will come and stop these guys and then reverse on you. And then there are days when they will come down here and then they will come break, retest, and then they will collapse. That's if they were planning to collapse on the day. Okay, so you know now that there are three possibilities, hence why we identify these guys. This is going to give us crucial information throughout the day. Okay, crucial information. Okay guys, now let's go to the following one. This is the only one in green, as I said. Why? Because some days you won't be able to know. Okay, more especially if we have people down, and then the session opens and then prices the session opens here. That is to say, our 10 to 5 minutes is here. We won't know if these guys up here are trapped or if these guys up here are trapped, because everybody who bought here is at a loss when prices are here. They are at a minus, and everybody who sold here are at a minus. Okay, and remember, a large number of people don't even use stops. Okay, now you understand that. Now we wait for the session to open. This is not rocket science. There's nothing you need to know. You just have to look at your watch. For me, I will look, as you can see, I have this orange highlighted box over here. So I'm just gonna try to delete this, and I'm gonna try to remove this. Okay, so you can see the first candle. This is the first candle. It's a pin. And guys, do not chase the first candle, because most of the time it's when all the orders are coming in, and most of the time this is going to be a stop hunt or the biggest candle. Okay, so don't think, oh, they're going quite quick just because the first candle is too big. No, that's when most of the orders are coming into the market. Okay, so it's highly important to know that. Don't fall for the first one. Okay, so we go to the next step, which is to identify trap volume during the session itself, and this is where it's highly important, and this is where you need to be patient. Okay, and this is where you need to be patient. At the same time, you need to have the ability to execute when your setup shows up, because this is the most crucial part. Okay, we need to identify those who are trapped during the session. Of course, you already know that this is the session, right? We need to see trap volume. How do we see trap volume? We use chart patterns. I gave you a lot of chart patterns in the playbook that is in the description, but if you do a simple Google search, chart patterns, you are gonna see a lot of chart patterns, right? So for me, 90%, it's gonna be something like triangle. Okay, 90% for me, it's gonna be a triangle. Okay, 90% is gonna be a triangle. And let me just bring in this simple indicator, or where is it? Sorry guys, this indicator. Okay, oh sorry, I'll just keep it at 3. It's okay. And then most of the time for me, it's just gonna be something like a triangle. Okay, 90% of the time they can come and do something like this, and then they collapse. Okay, but this collapsing part is not what I'm talking about right now. Right now I'm talking about this. Okay, this is a chart pattern. Okay, these guys inside are trapped, so it's important to know who is trapped. That gives you an edge. Okay, you are patiently watching them, and that is what's gonna give you an edge. Okay, it's gonna give you an edge. So it's fine. Once you have a chart pattern, what do you need? You want to see an evidence candle. That's why I deleted that part. Okay, an evidence candle is simply the biggest candle that breaks out of the pattern. Okay, let's say when they have trapped like this, you don't know where they are gonna go. It doesn't matter where prices are coming from. Okay, they might be coming from down, and you might deem this as a peanut pattern, but guys, you can't conclude at this point here. Why? Because they can come and do this, give you a super big candle, okay, that closes down. Okay, this is what I'm gonna execute. Okay, why? Because this is an evidence candle. Why? The big candle that breaks out of the pattern, it must be so big. Why? Because when it's big, remember, there are people who went up, and where are the stops for these guys? Obviously, if somebody chased this one, their stops might be up here because of spread. Okay, remember, it depends on brokers. If somebody chased this move here, obviously their stops might be somewhere here. And if somebody chase this move, their stops might be somewhere here. Okay, and if obviously somebody chase this move up again, their stops might be here. Because remember, your stop is not going to be where you press the sell or the buy button. It's going to be where the spread is. Okay, that is the difference between the buy and the sell, and that's what gives the broker some payment. Okay, remember, brokers have hired employees and they're paying for servers, and they're paying for a lot of things, okay, to get your orders fulfilled and stuff. So they need some sort of commissions or payment. Okay, and their payment is the difference between the spreads. And again, the cost of your spread will depend on your size. Okay, so obviously, if there's these guys who bought here, if their stops are around here, when this candle closes immediately, you see it's a big candle. Okay, it must be a big candle. Why? Because when it closes, everybody who is up here, whose stops are up here, whose orders got fulfilled up here, okay, these guys are at a huge loss. Okay, they are at a huge loss. Okay, because guys, you know that thing, these guys are at a huge loss. And what are they gonna do? They're gonna be praying for prices to do what? To retest, because they know they're wrong. They want prices to at least come to this point here, okay, so that they can exit. In other words, they know they are wrong, but hope is activated instantly. Okay, that's why I say hope is a dangerous thing to have, because the moment you have hope, it becomes so impossible for you to see things with clarity. Okay, so these guys are gonna hope prices come here. Most of the time they are not. However, there are days when they will retest. You know how people are. The moment they retest, these guys now want them to, if they retest to this point here, now because you are still at a loss depending on the risk reward you use, now you want them to come to exactly break even so that you can exit, because you know you are wrong. You know that stubbornness. That's just human psychology. Okay, but most of the time they are not gonna do this. What are they gonna do? They're gonna come mostly to retest this area over here, and that's when they fall. That's if they give you a retest, and that's when they will collapse. So for me, if they do something like this, for me, what they do, they give me another opportunity to enter. Okay, this is not a threat to me, because already I know what I'm looking for. Okay, I know what I'm looking for, and this is no longer a threat to me. You see, this is what's going to happen. Okay, so I take two positions. And somebody will ask, what if you enter here and then they close you? Well, then if that happens, that simply means they closed me. Okay, I want to share with you something very crucial here. I always tell you guys, read. I think books hold great value. If you look at this book, it's Larry Williams, one of the best speculators out there, one of the best. And this one is called Long-Term Secrets to Short-Term Trading. Okay, and if you actually go to, oh sorry guys, okay, if you actually go to page let me see, okay, if you go to page 140, let's go to page, okay, let's go to page 76. If you go to 76, okay, you will realize he wrote something which is important. This is something I always say to you guys. He says, oh sorry for this, he says, I place my trades knowing only one of three types of days will develop. So there's going to be one of three things, as I always say. A small range day that will produce a small loss. Okay, remember, our maximum stop is 25. Okay, it's 25. Okay, so if they close you, they did close you because there's a possibility for that. And then a second scenario is a day that reverses against my position. You see, this is another possibility. Or a large range day that if I am on this that if I am on the correct side, mean I will finish the day very near the high of an up day or the low of a down day. Guys, please read this book. By reading this book, you're going to understand the relationship between the closing price, the relationship between the half of the day, and the relationship between the low of the day. These are three significant levels. And if you read this book, it's going to clarify that relationship for you, okay? Because he talks a lot about the closing price. He did a lot of experiments. He talks about the high of the day a lot, and again he talks about the low of the day. Okay, you need to know those important levels, and this book outlines all these things. By the way, this book was written many years ago, and it's still one of the best out there. Okay, if you need to understand everything, whether you want to understand the inside days, the outside days, you're gonna be able to understand it from this book here. All these things are here. Okay, all these things are here. As you can see, there are two types of days that will happen that actually confuse people. Let me see. Okay, two specific types of days can cause confusion with our basic definition. Okay, we have inside days. Most people don't understand the significance of inside days, and most people don't understand. The next is the outside day. Most people don't understand the significance of this. Guys, this book has a lot of information. It's rich in information. Okay, so if you can get your hands on this one, please do. I believe that books hold more value than any other thing. Okay, yes, of course you can learn from a lot of people, but I still think books carry the biggest weight out there. Okay, because that's where the best guys are able to actually reveal things. Most of the guys won't be here online, but they will be on their books. Okay, so guys, please get your hands on this book. So I wanted to show you that if they reverse on you and close you, say maybe you took this one and your stops are maybe this candle opened here, so let's say maybe your stops are 25 here. If they close you, you know they closed you. However, if they close you me and then they give me a confirmation with a retest, I enter again. Okay, but these are things you have to know. Okay, you'll never have 100% assurance. Okay, it's only one of three things that is going to happen, and I'll show that when I go to the charts in a moment. That is highly important. Okay, so guys, I believe you understand this. Now we're gonna go to the next one, which is actually if you get an evidence, that's not the final decider. Why? Because we have something very important. We have something important, and that is the time. As I always say, I'm willing to take from 50 to 10 past. My goal is to take as close as possible to the o'clock mark or to the half-hour mark. So I'm only willing to take from 50 to 10 past or from 20 past to 40. Okay, that's highly important. But mostly I would love 55 to 5 past. Okay, because this is when the best evidences are given. And remember, at this time here, I'm talking about the evidence. Okay, the evidence. Or I love more the 25 to 35. These are the ones I love the best. So I'm only willing to take, you can screenshot this watch. Wait a minute, I'm gonna clear this so that you can see. I'm only willing to take the times here shown in green. Okay, let me just erase this for those who want to take screenshots. Okay, you can screenshot this watch, you can print it and stick it on your wall or wherever you want. This is the only time I'm willing to take the execution. Okay, screenshot it. Okay, fine, you can pause and screenshot it. So now look at this, guys. We are talking about this specific evidence here, this candle over here. Okay, this is the evidence because it's the big candle that breaks out. This candle must happen at a specific time, and I've just showed the times to you. Okay, now let's go back and see what we do. Then we execute. You always know that when you execute, our SL maximum is 25 and our TP minimum is 50, because if you have 25 for 50, that means this is 1:2, and this is the lowest. I'm saying this is the lowest we are willing to go. Okay, the lowest we are willing to go. Okay, it's 1:2. Some days you'll get 1:10, some days you'll get 1:20. It depends on the days, but this is the lowest we are willing to go, but it's strictly 25 SL always. Okay, the one we are flexible with, it's this one. Okay, so this is highly important. Now let's go to the charts. We're gonna be using this tick box, okay, to determine if the execution is ready or not. And this is highly important. Only execute when this box over here tells you that it's complete. Okay, and as I said, I'm developing a phone app that is actually someone is developing it for me. Okay, because I'm not good in coding. So this app will tell you, you'll just punch what you see and then it will give you the green light or not. Okay, so that is highly important. Okay, so now we're gonna go to these things here. Let me just quickly delete these things over here because I just wanted to demonstrate using them. Okay guys, I believe I've deleted most of the stuff by now. Sorry guys, I don't want this video to get too long, but the important things we have to talk about, which is crucial. Okay, we're gonna start on Friday with anyone. Okay, first of all, let's start with this one. Okay, so what did they do? They gave this. Okay, at the time of this breakout, let's look at the time. Okay, let's first fill our book. Okay, this was a beautiful triangle, right? Beautiful triangle, you can see it, right? Yes. So let's go to our book. Okay, we didn't see who was trapped. We waited for the session to open. Now we want to see who's trapped during the session itself. What do? We wait. And this is the pattern they give us. I told you 90% of our patterns are triangle. Okay, so this is gonna take more time, so I'm not gonna stick much on this. You can just fill it out. Okay, we see a triangle. Okay, triangle, is it perfect or not? For it to be perfect, I need 3 touches up and 3 touches down, but this doesn't apply to head and shoulders because head and shoulders automatically are short and they send people up, they send people up, and they send people up. So they have 1, 2, 3, so they automatically qualify for this perfection. Okay, they automatically qualify. The same applies to half Batmans. Half Batmans by nature, they also qualify because they send people up, important, and then they come up, and then even if they give you just 2 touches here on either side, it is perfect because the first touch went up here. Okay, and the same applies to something like triple tops. Automatically they are perfect. Okay, so this is highly important. And for double tops, what I love is I love a double top that has a retest. If I'm gonna get a double top or a double bottom, I will need it to come back before collapsing. Okay, this is highly important for me because I can't make judgment only on this. Okay, that's something I do. Okay, so let's see if it is perfect. Okay, we have I'm just gonna use this box quite quick, but when we are going forward, I'm not gonna use it because it's gonna be time consuming. We can calculate this as the first touch because they, okay, I usually count if they surpass the midpoint because sometimes they're not gonna go straight and touch. By the way, this is just supposed to be an area, right? Yes, so when they surpass the midpoint, I'll count it, but this one of course is just a pin, so I'm not going to count it. Okay, so it's 1 down and then it's 1 up. As I said again, you see this one is not really that clear if they went below, so I'm going to count 2 here and then I'm going to come up here again and count 2. Okay, so this one has 3 this side here. Is it perfect? Well then no. Okay, what I'll advise is if you don't have sufficient experience, just pass the one that is not perfect. Okay, besides, I told you must backtest to understand this, and I gave you some free tools in the description that you can download to backtest with. Okay, it's very important to put in the work. Like today it's Sunday, but I'm doing this for you guys, and you think like this for me is very important because I get to share knowledge with you, but it also shows you how much I'm willing to put in the work. Okay, because last night I actually slept at around 2 a.m. I was busy backtesting. Okay, and I was actually testing this other strategy, which is working nice, but I'm only going to share it when the results are good. Right now I'm not going to talk about it. Okay, so I do put in a lot of work, and guys, you have to put a lot of work into. Okay, so look at this, look at this. This is not perfect. If you haven't backtested it, don't do it. Okay, but if you have experience, maybe you thought this was good. Okay, let's still proceed. Okay, yeah, no, this was not perfect. How much time did it take? I told you if it's above 1 hour, we can target 100 points. Okay, 100 points, but this is for NAS and the Dow. Okay, but for this one is double volatile S&P, so you target times 2. If it's S&P, you target times 2 because it's double volatile. Okay, but if these other ones are above 1 hour, what I simply mean is it's so easy, guys. You look at the time for the first touch. We can take it from here. This is beyond 1 hour, so if this was perfect and if you were taking it, obviously you target 100, but it's got a loss here. Let's proceed. We'll see if it's a loss or not. Okay, we'll see if it's a loss or not. So this one took 70 minutes, which is above 1 hour. Okay, so this means we are able to target 100 on this one. Why? Because this is obviously not S&P. Okay, it's NAS. Okay, you can target 100. Okay, But let's proceed. That's not all. Do we have an evidence candle? Yes. What is an evidence candle? Is the biggest candle that breaks out. Do we have it? Is this the big candle that breaks out? Or let's see. Yes, it is, because it's almost the same size as this one. Okay. So yes, it is the big candle. You can see it is a big candle that breaks out. Okay, good. Okay, good. Let's proceed. What is the evidence time? Now, this is the final decider, guys. This is the final decider. Most people try to avoid this because the evidence looks so good, and they actually end up paying the biggest price. Okay, this is important. The time is important. I wouldn't waste my time trying. Look, this is designing. It takes time to design this. Okay, it takes time, and that's my free time. Okay, so I wouldn't take my free time and waste it. This is important, hence I put it here. Okay, and hence I also put it here. Okay, so let's look at the time. Already you know the times. Okay, if you are looking at the time right now, let's see, what time is this. This is 13 past. You see down here it's saying this broke is behind in 2 hours exactly, so this is gonna be 18:13. So if it's 18:13, it actually tells you that this is not the time we agreed on. Okay, why? Because this time 13, okay, let's say 13 might be here. This is 13. This is outside the green. This is white. This is outside the green. So if I was to color this with white, it's invisible. So this is not the right time. Okay, this has failed. It doesn't matter how beautiful it looks, it has failed. So if you took this one, sorry on you. Okay, it's all on you, because we have spoken about these things countless times. Okay, we have spoken about these things countless times, so that is on you. Okay, so what happens later? Okay, because sometimes they give you a pattern, it's not good, and then you have to readjust things. That's highly important. When they give you something that's not clear and they continue, okay, you should actually reevaluate and see what's happening. Okay, that's highly important. So let's look at what this changes into. This changes now into a huge rectangle, right? Yes, it changes into a huge rectangle. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, and now let's see, they come and break out. It's too late though, but it's okay because the time still applies. Okay, let's see, now they break out here. You see, there is no evidence. There is no evidence. There is no evidence. You see, do you have an evidence? No. Do you have a pattern? Yes. Do you have an evidence? So this one actually failed late when it came to this part over here. Let's see. Okay, we got stuck here. Okay, because we have the pattern, we had the rectangle. Now rectangle, yes, it was perfect this time around, and yes, it took, already we know it took more than 1 hour, but it failed here. So if it fails here, I know it's hard to say today I'm gonna do nothing. It's very hard in reality, but it's beneficial because it keeps you away from garbage. Okay, so this one failed here. You cannot go to this step if it failed here, hence why I put all these other ones in red, because you cannot go to the next one unless this red one is fulfilled. The only one you can go without to the next one is this one, which is in green. However, for these ones that are in red, it's strictly prohibited to go to the next one, because each following step is, the step above is a prerequisite for the following one. You know, if you are at varsity, you cannot register for a prerequisite module until you pass it. Okay, you cannot register for the next module unless you pass the prerequisite. So it's the same here. The only difference is if you are at the university, what they will do is they won't allow you to register. But here you can still press the button. Why? Because this depends on you. You have no supervisor. Nobody's going to say don't do this. This is where you have to trust yourself. And to trust yourself, you have to develop discipline. Without discipline, how can you trust the undisciplined you? Okay, this is the only difference. If you had to go through someone for approval, you know the person was going to say no. So please hold yourself accountable with these steps over here. It's highly important. I know sometimes it's so hard to follow them, but guys, it's very important. Hold yourself accountable. Take it as if though there is somebody who is there to approve or not. Hence I said I'm developing an app, because the app will tell you no, this one is not ready, because you simply come and punch. Do you have an evidence? You say no. Okay, and when you say no, it's going to tell you that no, until you have an evidence, you can't go to the next one. Okay, because evidence is crucial. Okay, so this is what's gonna save most of the time. Okay, if you have somebody you are working with, please put them in a position where they hold you accountable. Okay, if you have a friend you are doing this with, if you have a partner you are doing this with, please appoint them and make them like your superior. They should approve before you open. That's gonna hold you accountable and it's really gonna help you. Okay, it works well when you have somebody to answer to, because in this business, unfortunately, you are the only one who is in charge of everything in the world. If we or the people working for a company did not need somebody's approval, believe me, we would have no company today in this world, because people are less accountable. They will just approve this. Take a trip that has that will lead to losses to the company. It's not an important trip, but they will take it simply because there's no one to say no, don't go on this trip. Okay, it's not allowed. So that's why we have bosses. That's why the business world has its own management structure. The main goal is to hold the people below, the people who run the day-to-day business, accountable. Okay, give them permissions or deny them permission where it is it's not important for the business. Okay, so please try to hold yourself accountable. The same applies to, you see, we told you there are 3 types of days. I always say this. When they don't give you an evidence, guys, if they wanted to, this is what I always say. Okay, I tell myself this, and this is what keeps me going. I tell myself, okay, look at this. When they were going up, they gave me this type of a candle. Okay, sorry, I want you to see this. Okay, because it's very important. Okay, this is how I enjoy holding myself accountable. Okay, they gave me this type of candle. Okay, one, and then if you look inside, you have many. You have this one. Okay, you have this one which came at the wrong time, and then again you have the one that reverses the move, and again you have this one inside here. Okay, and not only that, you have this one over here. Okay, these are the things we are anticipating, but why don't they give them here? Simply because they planned on the day they're going nowhere. So this is what you should ask yourself. It's not hard for them to give you this. Why? Because I shared that with you. If the moment they give you this one over here, everybody who went down is immediately at huge losses, depending on the leverage they use. You know that people use like huge leverage. Okay, so that's something you really have to know. If they don't want to give you this candle, they simply don't want to give it. Accept that and move on. Okay, so if we go to the day before, you will realize that the day before, okay, it's very important. Let's go first with the criteria, and you can see we are coming somewhere here. Okay, this tells us we are almost at the high because this is where the session opened. Okay, but there are these people over here. But if you look at it overall, you see that we have a lot of people down here, but it's not as clear as to who is trapped, right? It's not as clear. But look at what they do. They give an opportunity to the downside. Exactly what I said. You see, they just come enough just to tap. Okay, just to tap, and then they reverse. You think they are going down, but they just came to these guys. Okay, before they punish them, because there are people who don't use stop losses. There are people whom have to be forced out of the move. But of course, on these days, I'm saying, we came 10 to 5 minutes, and this is where we were, and there were people above here, so we can't say who is trapped, because these guys who bought here are still at a loss, so we don't know who is trapped. Okay, and then I told you, you just wait. You want to see those trapped during the session. What do? They give you a half Batman. This is a half Batman, a beautiful half Batman, right? It's a beautiful half Batman. Okay, beautiful half Batman. Guys, I'm saying a lot of things because I want you to grasp this. Okay, half Batman, where? This is what I love. More than anything else, I love this. Why? It's happening where? It's happening on the closing price. I told you, go and read that book that I just showed you. It has all this information, the relationships between the closing price, the high and the low. And you will be surprised at how strong these relationships are. Okay? Very strong. You can't even imagine their strength. You see, this is where they give you a half Batman. Where? On the closing price. They break out of it. Okay, look at this. They break out of it. Okay, is this the big candle from the last touch? Obviously we have this candle over here, but this one is certainly a big one. Okay, so it's up to you. If you doubt it, you can just wait. Okay, if you doubt it, you can just wait. What do? They come and retest. I told you, if you took this one over here and you had 25 pips. Your 25 is stop is just somewhere here. This is why I say mostly we take 15 to 25, because sometimes you realize that it's not practical. The 25 is so far. The 25 is so far. You see where the 25 is? The 25 is somewhere here. Okay, the maximum is 25, but we can take 15, but I just love 25 because it keeps you safe anyway. So you see here, this is where you can take 15, because obviously this 15 again is where is below the entire pattern. Okay, so you see the 15 is below the entire pattern, but even if you took this one, what did they do? They come back again. What do? They retest. If you took this one, I always want to add another one where I'm at a profit. Okay, you see, you took another one again. You can put 25 or 15. Okay, and guys, look at this pattern itself. It's 23 minutes. So obviously, what did I say? I said if you look at this, okay, we have half Batman. Okay, I'm just gonna use this quite quick, but this is time consuming, guys. This is half Batman, half. This is half Batman, right? This is half Batman. Is it perfect? I told you half Batmans are exempted. I actually drew it here for you. Half Batman, you don't have to fill here because it's always a yes. And how much time did they took? They actually took 25 minutes, 25 minutes. So this is less than an hour. When it's less than an hour, what does this mean? It means your target is 50. Okay, your target is 50. Okay, am I saying this because it happened? Go to my previous ones, you'll see I say the same thing each and every day, and it's always the same kind of thing, every day. Do we have an evidence? Yes, we had the evidence. Now we have to look at the time, okay, to confirm the move. Okay, let's see. This one came at 12 pass. We wipe it out. It's not correct. This one came at 16 pass. So guys, this move failed. Okay, this one failed. So it failed. Okay, it failed here. This is a big no. Do you take it? A big no. Okay, remember we say this is the final decider. So this was a big no. Okay, but what happened? What happened? Did it really end up performing as we expect? Yes, they went there 50. Okay, where is 50? Okay, actually 51. You see, they went there 50. But guys, I will advise not taking. Because why? It failed. Where did it fail? It failed when it comes to the times. Okay, because that one actually happened somewhere outside this box over here. So that tells you that it failed. Okay, I told you we have this times for a reason. It failed. You let it go. Okay, it's hard, but it's important. Yes, some days it will go, but you don't need some days. You need something that happens frequently. That's how you are able to build something. Okay, then later they did this. Later, what did they do? Later, they did this. Okay, they did this. They gave a rectangle. Okay, they gave a rectangle still during the day. Okay, and that's obviously after an hour. When they give a pattern, mostly I want to take the following pattern if it takes an hour. That is to say, if they give me this pattern going up and immediately they give me a pattern like this one, you see, like this one here, because this confuses people. Let's say immediately they give you this pattern. This is less than an hour, and then of course they break, but this is a pin, we're not going to count it. Let's say they break to the downside and they retest, they give you this. You want to fall into this? No, this is less than an hour. This one is still ruling. Okay, that's something I developed to help myself. This one is still in charge, so I don't do anything here. If I'm in this one, I'll just leave it and let it go. Okay, why? Because if I'm gonna take an opposing one, I'm gonna take it up to an hour or so. Okay, you can say okay after 1 hour 30 minutes, because you need to know that this one is still ruling and they're gonna try to threaten you out. Okay, so how can you overcome that threat? Obviously you just do nothing. Okay, because this is just to come and threaten you. Most of the time we did say that okay, they will come for those who trail, because you enter here, now it's gone. You want to trail to break even. Guys, they're always gonna come to the entry. Not always, but most of the time they'll come to the entry. Okay, they'll come to the entry to stop hunt you. Okay, that is highly important to know. Okay, now look, rectangle, and they give the evidence. What time was the evidence? If you look down here, it was 2 past. Perfect. They come down. The retest doesn't matter anymore. The time doesn't matter with the retest, because already we have the confirmation to go. Okay, the retest is just where they are coming to retest, of which they will do some days. But here's the most crucial thing again. Look at this. They engulf away from it. This is the high of the day. I told you. The book that I just showed you has all the relationship between these things. This is an important place to be executing. What do? Pattern, big one. Retest, big one. This is 2 positions. I just told you. This to me is not a threat. Okay, because already I'm on this one and I know what to do. Okay, and then you're in 2 positions. How long did it take to break out? It took actually 40 minutes. So if you're gonna be targeting 50, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. This is your first 50, and sorry, this is your, where's your second 50? First move down, hit. So you literally got 100. Okay, by not doing much, you got your 100. Okay, so guys, it doesn't matter the size, it's all about the quality. You see, these things are the things we talk about each and every day. Okay, if we were to go to I won't go to S&P. I don't want to go to S&P, but it's okay, let's just talk about it for a moment. I'm not gonna look at who is trapped because they gave us non-farm. Obviously the guys down here are trapped, right? Okay, it's fine. Okay, but look at this. The most important thing is the closing price. I want you never to forget that. Okay, this is a very important level. I told you this. My A+ setups comes from a pattern that is building on a level. Okay, first of all, they gave you something like this, but you can see there was nothing here. Okay, even if you put your line, there was nothing here. Here there was nothing. Okay, so you can readjust things as they continue. Then they broke out. What time was it? This is highly important. What time was it? Because this is evidence. They give it at 50. Is 50 within our time? Exactly. So you take this one. Okay, you take this one. Yes, sometimes they'll come and close you depending on the stops, but this one is double volatile again. Okay, fine. They retest and they retest again, and that's when they do what they collapse. They collapse for plus 100. Okay, and of course this pattern is taken from the first touch. It has taken 62 minutes. That simply means it took over an hour. So I told you this is double volatile. You can target 200 on this one. Okay, but of course on this day it really didn't. Let's say if you took it from here, it only went 1.3. Okay, but it's still okay. Okay, it's still okay. You can target 2 on this one. And then when we go to the previous day, you can see, guys, these things are everywhere. Okay, let's say they give you this weird pattern. It's not a good pattern, but what I liked was it was on the closing price. Okay, but is it perfect? No, we only have 2 touches down, so you can leave it. Okay, and then later what do? Later they give you a half Batman. Okay, they give you a half Batman, perfect half Batman. But somebody will say, oh, but we have a triangle over here. Okay, yes, we have a triangle. Let's evaluate this triangle now. Let's try to evaluate this triangle. Okay, they gave us an evidence candle. What time is it? It's actually 45. Wrong timing. This one didn't have an evidence. Okay, and the timing was wrong again. So you can leave this one. Besides, it wasn't perfect. And let's look at this one. Again, it's 16 pause. Okay, so you can avoid this one. So on this one, there was nothing. Why? Because they failed with the time. Okay, they failed with time. Guys, I'm trying to show you the ones that failed with time so that you can stick to something that is real. Okay, stick to something that is real. Try to stick to something that is real. I know it's gonna be very hard to just let it pass like this because, oh, everything is so perfect, and actually it end up going, hey, more than 200. It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. You just have to save yourself from the bad days, because there are gonna be days when they give you something and it doesn't pass. And by the way, you could have taken this one and lost this one again. Okay, so yes, it went 200, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Why? Because the most important thing is the time. Okay, the most important thing is the time. So this one was 16 past. It's the wrong time. Let's go to the Dow will be the last one. Okay, first of all, the Dow gave something like this. This is what I was seeing. It gave a triangle, right? It gave a triangle, and then it broke out. Is this the big candle? Obviously no. Why? Because we have this candle over here. You see, this is the biggest candle we have, because remember we said the evidence is the biggest candle from the last touch. So this is the last touch, and when they give this one, it's not perfect. Small details, but guys, if these details are taken into account, they are very effective. Just look, very small details. Is it not perfect? It is perfect, but is it the biggest? No. What do? You don't take it. Yes, the time might be perfect. 45 again, the time is not perfect. Okay, so I'm trying to show you the smallest things that will actually save the day most of the time. Time is wrong, it's not an evidence. Okay, why? Because there's this biggest candle that was given. Obviously there are many people who actually sold on this one. Okay, so that's the main psychology behind. If it's the biggest, that means most people didn't fall for it. Okay, so you see they come back inside, and that's when they give this one. Now this is the last touch, and is this the biggest one from the last touch? Yes it is. Yes it is. You see, this is the touch, and this obviously most people who got sold here got closed here. So if this is the biggest one, let's look at the time. Okay, let's look at the time. It's 53. Perfect timing. Small details. Oh, I'm saying this because they happen, guys. This is what we talk about every day, and if you read between the lines, that's why I say backtest every day, because there are some small things that if you are not backtesting and you think this is so easy as it sounds, it's gonna be very difficult. Why? Because there's small details, very small details that are highly important. Hence I'm saying you need somebody to actually answer to. If there's somebody, like, that's why we have like a structure in the management, okay, of every company. It's because of accountability. If you are able to take the decisions you want to take in somebody's company, you're gonna bring that company down to ashes. Okay, so there has to be somebody who's not related to you, somebody who you fear more, who, if they say no and you continue, they can actually take some actions against you. Why? Because their positions allows them to do that. That is in the best interest. That is in the best interest of the company. Why? Because if you are taking decisions, there are many mistakes you're gonna make, and you won't be accountable. You see, small details, the most fine details are the most important details. Okay, this is the perfect one. If you have this one and the stops are here, oh, it's only 25, guys. It's only 25. That's the max we are willing to go. Okay, yes, again, this is just 25. Okay, yes, this is just 25. You see, they never come back for you. You just stay in it. You stay in it. And then what do they do later? Later, they do something again. Later, they do something again. Okay, they start building another pattern. They start building another triangle. Okay, and if you are in this one, you are just watching to see what happens. That's why sometimes it's also important not to trail, because they are here. You think, oh, it has gone in my direction. I want to be risk-free. You know, people are so desperate to be in a risk-free. Guys, it's not risk-free. Analyze the risk, okay? Because the moment you trail, you think it's a risk-free, but it's no longer free. Why? Because all this was yours. Now you have to analyze the risk based on what's yours, okay? But you quickly moved it. The next thing you know, boom, they've closed you. You take another one. The next thing you know, boom, again, you're gonna get tired, whereas your initial stops are intact. Okay, and then what do? They give another beautiful evidence. Is this the biggest one from the last touch? Yes it is. Okay, yes it is. Let's look at the time. The time down here is 8. So this one here and this one here qualifies because it's the biggest and the time is perfect. You see, you have another one. How long did they take? They took 50 minutes. That's less than an hour. Okay, actually no, the first touch is above. It's here. They took how many? They took 67. So that means you can go for 100. Okay, you can go for 100. And it's delivered. It's delivered. Okay, fine details, the smallest details that most people won't even be able to see, turned out to be the most important details of the day. Okay, small details. Somebody took this and is going to be complaining, this thing doesn't work, this thing doesn't work, this thing. If you only heeded to my advice to go back and backtest, you will have discovered the small details. Because when you're backtesting, you have to journal, and when you're journaling, you have to compare. Oh, this one is a loss, let me go, did I follow every criteria perfectly? Where did I make the mistakes? And you realize the evidence candle, it's the biggest candle from the last touch. I keep saying that, and you realize, oh, it wasn't the biggest. Oh, that's where I did something wrong. So you see the mistake. Next time you'll remember this mistakes, you won't do it again. Or sometimes the evidence candle happens and it's the wrong time. It's the wrong time. Okay, it happens. Let's go back. But already, guys, this video is too long. I don't think I'm gonna do this. Besides, on this day there was nothing of a perfect pattern. Okay, but let's say sometimes You are looking at this and the pattern is there, everything is perfect, and oh, you took this one, it went up. You took this one, hey, it's a beautiful evidence. Is it the biggest? Yes. So perfect, everything is so perfect. But when you are going to do your journaling later, you come and say, what time was this? It was 45. Oh, I messed up. Some days you take something like this and it doesn't work, and you say, but I didn't have the evidence. Oh, this wasn't perfect. You see, those are the things that actually helps master the smallest pieces of the puzzle. Okay, because if a puzzle is never complete until the last piece is put in. Okay, that's just very important. And even to those who play chess, you know the importance of every move. You know the importance of every move. You know the importance. I love playing chess a lot. You know the importance. That's a mind game, and it trains your mind in a certain way. You know the importance of a single move. A pony is something very small. It's limited, but its role or its function is to protect the queen and the kings and all the bigger, the bigger, like the bishop, the castle, okay, and like the horse. It protects those powerful and bigger components of the chess. Okay, that's what happens. The smallest pieces are gonna save the day. Don't just say this pony doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everything is right. I still have the queen. I still have the king. I'm just gonna risk this pony. And you take a move whereby you know if I take this one, they're gonna take my pony. Guys, every move is a calculated move. Every move in the chess game is a calculated move. That's highly, highly important. These mind games are very important in training your mind, okay? Because there's some small piece of information that they actually allow you to have, okay? As I already said, okay, you use this, and this playbook has everything. This whole strategy summarized and put in simple form. It's in this book, which is in the description. Easy and straight to follow, okay? But it's important, if you come and you realize you are in this, use whatever strategy is provided under this. If you realize you are in this, use whatever strategy is provided under this. If you realize you are in this, use what is provided under this. So guys, you have a lot here, and the video is long enough. I wanted to talk about something very huge, but I think I'll talk about that tomorrow, okay? Because it's very, very crucial, and this one is long enough. Guys, I really appreciate you. Have a beautiful Sunday. Don't forget to put in the work, okay? You must be good in what you do. And how do you become good? By putting the work in. If you're a soccer star, you practice. This is the only business where people think it's not important to practice, but practicing is very important, because as I showed you, most people lost. I've seen people have sent me a lot of emails where they lost, but it's the finest details. It's the smallest piece of the puzzle that they ignored. Okay, it's the careless move on the chess game that they ignored, which actually resulted in their queen being actually captured, which resulted in their king being captured. The smallest mistake is can have like huge results, okay? Huge results that are not good. So guys, please make sure you understand everything. Find somebody you are working with who will hold you accountable, okay? If all these things are not met, just do nothing. It's hard. Hence I'm saying find somebody to hold you accountable. That's very important, because if you can't hold yourself accountable, you're gonna spend maybe 10 years trying to do the same thing, and you'll only see later, but I did this, and it's always gonna be that. Why? Because at the time you are there, sometimes it takes rationality away, because everything is happening in a split second and you have to make a decision fast. But if you have somebody who will hold you accountable, that's why I'm actually working on the app, okay? It's being designed. I don't know how long it will take. That app will try to hold you accountable, but again, you're still the one who has to make the final decision, because the app might say no, but you might feel like this is crazy and then you just proceed. Hence I'm saying try to find somebody who will hold you accountable, because it's the smallest things you try to ignore that always come and become the disaster. This thing is straightforward. This thing doesn't have the problem. Everybody understand this. Straightforward. It happens. Guys, I've been sharing this for the longest time, the same thing over and over again. So this has proved that it happens over and 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 over again. You just have to hold yourself accountable. I really thank you so much. Have a blessed weekend. Thank you.